Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of late season offense matches. I ended up using a few teams this time around. Dimitri got returned to the scene for a water season, and I paired him up with duo Hilda as well for the first time in a while. Hilda's support gives Dimitri an extremely high level of one-shot potential and access to very reliable healing from Soul, and that combination makes him a formidable omni-tank even without access to null follow-up. He is still vulnerable to flash effects, but those are actually fairly rare these days after a few arms had a chance to settle into the meta, so he actually ends up getting to do quite a lot of work. Claude also got to share the spotlight for a more hit-and-run approach, using both normal and duo peonies to navigate the map. The gravity effect from Fallen Star and a backup sniper in the bonus week Joshua gives him a very easy time picking an enemy team apart. Ash's super guidance is really useful for him too, giving him more than enough mobility to make up for not having access to Kanto. I also got to test drive my Beastforce team outside of Ash's bonus week and was really pleasantly surprised by how well it worked. Using Ash and Peony for mobility instead of Wings of Mercy opens up some very helpful alternatives for B slots, and supporting Ash with Velouria gives all three of the Gale Forcers access to their special after a single attack. Having that ease of access to Gale Force also means the team can make one-shots their goal, using Edelgard's double Savage Blow and Milla's Sabotage Defense to soften up the enemy team. Now that we've gone over the teams, let's get to the first match. This match is going to be a bit of an easy start to the week. They have a bit of a free defense setup with just 4 in-season legendary units, and a bonus week mythic and a normal mythic. It's not too terribly threatening, though if you underestimate these mythic remixes, or legendary remixes, mythics haven't started yet, they can still catch you off guard if you're not careful, especially Robin with the guard effect and ability to neutralize bonuses, and this dragon wall on top, and Ryoma with his damage reduction and true damage and null follow-up. I don't think we're really going to have issues with it, but there's a chance that I am just severely overestimating Dimitri. This card effect is actually kind of annoying since you won't get to heal during that combat, and Triandra's bonus week can do quite a lot of work, especially when Dimitri is green and not even getting a full +6 to res.
Hurry up, will you?
Still don't think he's going to have a problem here, though.
My blessing.
We'll just pick up both of these pots to start things off. Ash is going to rally, which helps cut down on Robin a little bit. Not much, but every bit counts. Yes. Then he'll move in, and Hilda moves in behind him to support. And we'll say go. I expected Robin to go in first, since she's the only one who doesn't actually heal him in the same combat, so she gets this damage to stick. Unfortunately for her, that's the last time that her team can avoid healing Dimitri. And while Triandra can do a lot of damage, it gets cut down by Ariadbar and doesn't end up getting much to stick. And from there, their entire team is debuffed by Atrocity and Panic Smoke, and can't really accomplish anything. So they just start going down the health chain.
We will not lose.
While Dimitri heals himself back towards full health.
On my honor.
Atrocity really does do a lot of work. Ryoma finally moves in and gets that 7 true damage from his Bushido, but doesn't really get to stick. And once we get through Tiki, it's the end of the match.
Don't let them retreat.
Nice and clean in one turn. This match will be a bit more interesting. It's got a kind of old school cav line with a 6-unit setup featuring a +10 Reinhardt and a +10 Python as their headlines. They're backing those two up with a Harmonic Lysithia, who's a pretty spooky threat in her own right, even unmerged, and a Harmonic Leaf, whose Miracle can be very annoying to deal with. And of course a plus 10 Eldigan, who's pretty much mill-proof at this level of investment. And round the team out with a Yune to boost their stats and help mitigate lift loss. Even though it's a fairly old school setup, it still can be pretty threatening, especially if you're not using a Farsave unit. And I don't actually have one on my teams this week, so this should be a little interesting to figure out. I'm not expecting to have too many problems with it. We should be able to pick this apart one turn at a time. I'm going to start by just having Ash ruse Dimitri. And then we'll open up this corner.
I'll comply.
And move into position to start the fight. This catapult actually means that we don't get to take a turn at the start of this to set up, which is a little unfortunate, but
Here we go.
we'll make it work.
Ready.
And then we can have Peony jump over here and dance Dimitri,
Yes.
and move him forward to try and break this. Good, found the real gravity trap already. Right, from here, yeah, Lysithia should move in first. Well, she could get some damage done, but unfortunately Leaf won't be able to follow through on that. She also disables Hilda's support, which is why Dimitri doesn't get to heal right away. But it doesn't end up mattering, since
Don't let them
Leaf
retreat.
just heals him back to full health anyway. And then Eldigan should move next, since all of them have support skills. And that's that. The first turn went pretty well, but we do still have their two biggest threats left to deal with, and this Reinhardt in particular is a little spooky if we let him just run around the side of the map. So what we're going to
Your
do
orders.
here is actually have Dimitri snipe Yune.
I'm already
For
there.
flipping Peony forward
Maybe
and
this
having her
way.
dance him
Yes.
to go and knock out Python as well.
Don't let them retreat.
While he isn't going to get any support this turn, he should still be able to survive Reinhardt and then knock him out on the counterattack, while Peony just baits out Eldigan.
Lord,
And then
ask your
from there we'll
guidance.
just have Ash move over and out of the way of Reinhardt,
Here we go.
while Hilda and Milla
Like this.
move upwards. And then as they go. Dimitri gets panicked too, but even that's not quite enough to let Reinhardt finish him off. The damage incoming looks pretty spooky, and he does do 50 damage,
We will not lose.
but then we heal 25 of that back, and all that's left is Eldigan. That went pretty well, and now all we need to do is make sure that we don't finish off Eldigan before we reach this pot in the corner, which is going to take us a couple of turns. So we're just going to let Ash tank Eldigan for a turn and not knock him out,
I do not
while we
object.
make sure we get everything else handled.
I
Milla
bestow
can
my
jump all the way
blessing.
over here and break this panic manner for us.
Good
Then
morning.
we'll have Peony dance Ash and
Lord,
move
ask
her
your
up
guidance.
one more tile to reach this bright shrine.
I'll
Dimitri's just
comply.
going to keep Eldigan locked in place,
I'm
while
already
Joshua gets all the way up here and ready to pick up this pot next turn.
Have to keep swimming.
And then we'll just be careful not to put Hilda in range of Ash so that we don't give her any more attack buffs as they go. Eldigan moves in. Ash won't knock him out, thankfully, since she's got a very defensive skill set right now. And with Eldigan stalled out, all we need to do
do
is
not
move
object.
Ash over to break this pot,
Here we go.
have Hilda knock that out,
It will be done.
smite Joshua up,
Hurry
and
up,
have
will
him
you?
break this pot,
Your
and
orders.
then we'll let Dimitri close out the match. was a fun one to navigate. Let's see what we get next. This match will be a fun debut for my Beastforce team. I haven't gotten a good excuse to use it yet, since the last light season was a bit preoccupied with Ashe being an Omni-tank. But this map seems like a good spot to put it to good work. And they've got a pretty neat team here. It's a bit boxed in, but if you're not careful, things can get very out of hand thanks to this Asteroid and her rally trap. It is tempting for a lot of people to just isolate Triandra, and Ingrid too, but letting Asteroid out of this to rally Note and give her a second bonus doubler turns her into a very hard unit to handle for a lot of enemies. And this rally and extra movement and bonus doubler can be used really well by basically anybody on their team. The Linja is, well, a very powerful threat as well, and so's Lysithea, or even Ingrid. Boxing Edelgard into the corner like this doesn't really help them too much though. I'm not sure why they did. She could have been fine if they just moved this tactic room to another spot. And it makes it a little bit easier to just handle the rest of the team before moving on to Edelgard. I am going to take a turn just to set things up before we get going, but I think it should be a pretty clean clear overall.
Place your bets.
I'm going to start with having Joshua open up this flag and letting Velouria move over here. Peony is going to open up this panic manor, since none of their team can actually reach these tiles, with Note on this side of the field. And then
Like
Noah's
this.
just going to move up and break a bolt tower. And then we'll say go. Right here, we're going to start by having Edelgard flip Ashe forward to test this heavy trap, which is real, that's fine. It's not actually going to slow us down at all, since all we really need to do is let Velouria move in and one-shot Note. Which also gets her a guaranteed Gale Force, since there aren't any guard effects, and she has a 2-charge Gale Force thanks to her weapon and Time's Pulse.
Good morning.
We're going to Dense Edelgard, which enables orders and some extra buffs for everyone on the team.
Lord
And then
Aster,
let
guide us.
Ashe move in, and one-shot Ingrid for another guaranteed Gale Force.
What do
And
you
that
want?
position actually lets Velouria teleport behind Lysithea and knock her out.
It
Before
will be
we
done.
smite Milla forward, or use Milla to smite Edelgard forward. Bit of a shame that was real, but that's okay.
Out of my way.
Edelgard can move in and knock out Triandra. And I actually ended up forgetting about the second condition attached to Edelgard's first Gale Force. Since she's below 25% health, she doesn't actually end up getting it, and that's almost a problem, except
do
that
not
we
object.
do still have an extra action with Ashe to knock out Lyn, while also trapping Astrid. And even with Edelgard below 25% health, Astrid's not going to be able to do any damage to her.
Hurry up, will you?
And then we'll just let Joshua break this statue and say go. Yep. And down goes Astrid. Not having Edelgard's weapon or healing or special fighter online really did throw a bit of a wrench into my plan here, but it shouldn't stop us from winning this match.
What do you want?
We'll just have Velouria pick up this Aether pot,
Place
move
your
Joshua
bets.
forward one step,
Ready.
and then we'll dense him.
I
Move
bestow
Milla
my
forward.
blessing.
I'm
And unfortunately, Joshua isn't quite going to be able to knock out Edelgard in one round of combat. But that's okay. We still have plenty of turns to wait, and even with this healing tower, it's not going to quite pull her into range of surviving the following turn.
What?
So we'll just have our Edelgard get in position to break this
I
pot,
do not object.
move Ash down, help buff Joshua for next turn, and say go. And now that we've
Yes.
gotten everything together, Edelgard can break this pot,
Lord, ask
Ash
your
will move down
guidance.
to buff Joshua,
Place your bets.
and we'll have him finish the match. This match will be a fun one. Even though they do have a corner setup, they do still have a very impressive Fallen Ike on their team. It is unfortunate to see the Light Blessing on him. I imagine they forgot to give him a Dark Blessing before locking this, and that does make him a lot easier to handle. Even if it wouldn't actually have helped him here, the extra stats wouldn't have been enough to deal with Dimitri. The bonus week Triandra is pretty cool too, even if she's just using base kit, no seal or special. And so is their legendary Tiki, who is covering most of their team with Farsafe. Flame's a great way to make this a little bit more annoying to break, thanks to the damage reduction, but neither of these actually reaches all the way here to where Memori is standing, which can make it very easy to actually just pick her off with a ranged unit, and then clean up with melee afterwards. And of course, note in the corner for the 7th unit, extra stats. I don't think we're going to have too many issues here. It should be a pretty straightforward match. I'm just going to need to take a turn to clean up
Your orders.
some of these structures. And after that, we should be able to let Dimitri start going to work.
Here we go. Lord, ask or guide us.
I'm already there.
I bestow my blessing.
They're all boxed in, so we don't even need the safety fence to make sure nothing happens here. From here, I think the only thing we need to make sure of is making sure that Joshua continues soaking the Sprite Shrine,
I'm already
and he'll be able
there.
to do that as long as he gets a buff from Peony.
I do
Then we'll
not
have
object.
Ash rally Dimitri from here,
Yes.
and Dimitri can warp up here and break one structure.
Ready.
We'll have Peony dance him. Hilda can open up this bolt tower, and then we're just going to have him wait in place here, since he would actually take some damage from Tiki and not heal it back because he nearly one-shots her. So he'll just wait in place here. We'll have
It will be
Mila move
done.
up and give him some support, and then we'll say go. Tiki can get some damage to stick here thanks to Bold Fighter,
On my
and the
honor.
damage reduction from Flame, letting her survive that first hit.
Don't let them retreat.
But in the end, what she really does is just get the rest of her team debuffed and panicked, and that just lets Dimitri start clearing through the rest. Triandra can do some damage.
On my honor.
Green Mage does let her do a chunk, but Dimitri's out healing her. And similarly, Flame can survive and do a little bit of damage, thanks to the Dazzling Staff. But from there, things start to go downhill.
Don't let them retreat.
Even with all those debuffs, Dimitri still handles Ike pretty well. And without a special, Byleth isn't going to be able to do much to him either.
It's our chance to prevail.
The rest of their team can't make it in range, so that's the end of the turn. It went pretty well, and for the most part, the rest of this is pretty straightforward to clean up. We do need to make sure we're not attacking into Memori, since Dimitri doesn't have enough follow-up, and that can make the fight a little more annoying than it should be. On the other hand, Flame is very exposed, and Dimitri can pick up that knockout without any problems at all. And
Here
from
we go.
there, we'll just have Hilda break this for us,
Good morning.
and Peony can dance Dimitri.
I'll comply.
and let him just stay in place and pin the rest of their team behind this wall.
Hurry
Joshua
up,
can
lady.
warp all the way up here and break this fountain for us,
Truly?
and then we'll have Ash move forward a tile,
Like this.
and then smite her over to the right to get in range to buff Dimitri with her joint drive attack. Even with Note getting a bonus doubler and menace here, she's not going to be able to handle Dimitri. And once Memori's on her own, her weapon goes offline, and that makes her very easy for Dimitri to knock out as well.
We will not lose.
That was a fun one. Let's see what we get next. This match should be a really fun Gale Force clear. They've got a pretty tricky team to approach safely thanks to a combination of two Pathfinders from Notes, a Lara Shawl for a flash effect on the enemy frontliners, and a Velouria and Leaf as their ranged firepower behind that. The Catria in the back is just an extra layer of threat in case you try to block things from a little too far forward. Without any rallies, there's no way to guarantee that, say, Leaf or Lilina would be able to actually get a triangle attack off, but it's still an extra layer of threat that you have to worry about when approaching this team. And then of course they've got a plus 10 bonus weak Triandra. She's a bit of the odd one out since she's actually the only one on this team with any merges, but still very impressive. I'm going to take advantage of our safety fence on this first turn just to set a couple of things up and test this first trap. And, well, after the earlier match this week, we're going to make sure that Edelgard is not going to get hit by it, in case it's a 50 damage bolt trap.
Good morning.
Peony's going to be the one to test it. No, and it's fake.
Place your bets.
Makes things a lot easier.
Okay.
Now we'll just move everybody else over one space.
What?
Except Edelgard's going to be moving here. And then we'll say go. From here, we're going to flip Edelgard forward with Ash, and then we're going to dance her
It will be done.
and smite her forward.
I'm already
And then we
there.
can also flip Velouria forward, and from here we can go to town. Edelgard doesn't have any problems one-shotting Lara Shawl, which not only gets her first Gale Force, but also dents their entire team for a free 14 damage. Then Ash can use the mobility from Peony to jump over here and one-shot Note, and get herself her own Gale Force. And that position lets Velouria warp over here and take out their Note for another Gale Force. And then Edelgard can move forward one tile and knock out their Catria. And then Ash can warp past her and take down Melina.
That's funny.
And then Velouria has a very easy time moving in to finish off Leaf. And Ash's position here means that Edelgard can move over and just pick up this first Aether pot, while Velouria keeps Triandra locked in place. And then from here it should be pretty easy for us to pick up the second pot and close out the match.
This way.
Smiting Joshua forward here means that he can jump past Velouria and sneak in and grab it. And then we can just let Velouria close out the match. That was a fun one. Let's see what we get next. This match is going to be a bit of a slow rematch, and, well, it's mostly just a lift-loss mitigation setup here. There isn't too much threat on the team, especially not with this Kurthnaga, who's not even using a pulse tie. He's mostly unequipped. The Darting Breath Fae is an interesting idea, though, and I think could be pretty annoying to handle if she's got the right support or investment. Then a good tree and a Kanigas. I'm not really expecting to have problems here. It should be a pretty straightforward cleanup. Yep.
Hurry up, will
I'll just let Joshua start opening some of these structures up for us.
Maybe this way.
I'm already there.
A new dawn.
With some help from Claude.
On the right foot. My warmest greetings.
Let's go.
Truly?
Which lets Ash move in and get
It
in
will be
warping
done.
position for next turn. And then we'll wait.
What's
And
this?
then from here we can just start picking them off one at a time. Claude's not going to have issues dealing with Kanigas, especially when he's not even transformed yet. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kanigas gets as a refine. He should be our first armored beast who gets
A
one.
new dawn.
Then we'll have Peony dance him,
Sure thing.
let him move over and knock out No.
Leave. Now.
And then we'll just Geodance him,
What's this?
and let him take down Gatri.
Ha!
Ready.
And then Peony can jump forward,
Let's go.
and let him snipe Kurth. Which keeps our Geo Peony safe from Sothis, and stops him from getting anything done this turn.
Place your bets.
And we'll just let Joshua move out in
I
2,
bestow my blessing.
and Milla, and say go.
Sure thing.
And then it's just a matter of cleaning up the rest. We will need a Luna to knock out Faye in one round, so we'll start over here with Shamir.
Ha!
Good morning.
And after she's down,
What's this?
it's pretty easy to knock out Sothis.
Ha!
Before
warmest
having
greetings.
Geo Peony dance Claude,
I do not object.
repositioning normal Peony, or maybe not. I somehow forgot she has a rally. I haven't used this team too much this week.
Let's go.
That's okay. He's still got more than enough firepower to one-shot Faye with the Luna and finish her off before she gets to heal.
I won't back down.
And sadly for Faye, 6 damage is not going to be enough to keep Claude from finishing the map. This match is going to be another fun kill force clear. They've got a pretty tight-knit Catria ball here with a legendary Seeker pitching in as well. And this very impressive attack speed unity null follow-up Brahmond. Stacking speed on him is an interesting idea, since as long as he breaks 40 speed, he can actually guarantee a double, unless his opponent's running null follow-up as well. Which is very powerful considering the Catria enabling him and 3 dancers backing him up. There's also a lot of drive attack support here between the Peony and the Eldigan. And the attack tactic from Catria is a great way to just supercharge their entire team at the start of the turn. They also have speed and res tactics, which makes Note surprisingly bulky if you're trying to snipe her with a mage, since she doesn't actually need this menace to enable her bonus doublers. Having 3 dancers also basically guarantees that something is going to happen once the safety fence is offline, and helps force the team to actually reach the opponent and hopefully score some knockouts with Bremond and or Sigurd. We don't get to knock out our safety fence though, which gives us a turn to start with at the beginning of this match. And I'm going to take that opportunity to test a trap and move ourselves into position. Oh, interesting, that was a real trap. I was actually expecting this one to be the real one.
Maybe
It doesn't really
this
change
way.
anything. We'll just dance Joshua, move Ash up and into position,
Hurry up,
and
will you?
Joshua behind her, thanks to her warp effect.
Okay.
And then Velouria is going to reposition Edelgard over this way, and we'll wait. We are in range of Sigurd here with Velouria, but since we're still in range of the safety fence, nothing happens. From here, we're going to use Ash's guidance again to reposition her to the left, and we'll smite Velouria forward. And Ash's position here lets Edelgard move 4 spaces up to knock out Bremond, and start cleaving the rest of his team down as well. We'll have her move forward here and also knock out Peony, which disables most of their attack stacking that might interfere with our heavy blades.
What
And
do you
then we can
want?
reposition Ash forward with Velouria,
Ready.
and dance Velouria. And then we'll have Edelgard finish off Note. Which opens the field up for Velouria to come in and take down Catria, even through the Hardy Bearing.
I do not object.
And then Ash can take down Sigurd. And we're actually not going to knock out either Eldigan or Sigurd here. We're just going to move Ash over and break the Sprite Shrine,
Okay.
while Velouria moves over and locks Sigurd in place. From here, Eldigan should just get himself knocked out. He can do a bit of damage to Velouria, but it's not enough to really threaten her. Actually, somehow forgot that Courtly Candle was still active. Some of the plans I was thinking of involved Eldigan taking one more round of Savage Blows, so that's okay. It doesn't really matter here. Edelgard can move over and take out this Aether pot for us, while Velouria knocks out Eldigan for real this time. And uses that Gale Force to move over and pick up the second Aether pot,
Lord Asker, guide us.
before Ash moves in and closes out the match. That was a fun one to plan out. Gale Force clears tends to be. Let's see what we get next. This rematch is going to be a bit of an interesting one. I haven't seen too many triple Pathfinder teams, and this one's featuring an out-of-offense team, Bonus Week Dogger. They've also got 2 out-of-season legendaries with Legendary Lilina and Legendary Sigurd, backed up by an Ascended Leghorn and a Winter Lysithea. There's a lot of firepower on this team between Lilina, Leghorn, and Lysithea, and with Sigurd covering most of the map as well and giving them all an extra movement, it's very hard to hide anybody from this team. And of course, the extra movement really does help enable the 2 Doggers in the Note, letting them reach your front line and potentially wreaking some havoc as well. The team also makes it very difficult to reach these Aether pots in the back, since even if you can tank through them, it's very likely that you'll knock everything out and not get to these Aether pots before you finish the map. On the other hand, there are some funny things we can do with Legendary Claude and a safety fence that's not getting sniped by a catapult. We're actually going to get this started right away. Ash can just move forward here and test the trap. Even if it's a real gravity trap, it doesn't matter, since she
Let's
just
go.
enables warps for Claude to move in and start by knocking out Note.
Ha!
Which
On the right foot.
means that Peony can move over, dance him,
What's this?
and he can knock out the other Note.
Huh.
Ready.
Before getting danced one more time
Sure
to
thing.
move over and knock out their dogger.
Hold a grudge if you must.
And since this also gravities their entire team, we're actually out of range of them for this first turn again, thanks to this, and thanks to the safety fence, we don't have to worry
I
about
bestow my
anything.
blessing.
So we're just going to have Mila test this bolt trap. This one's real, I expected it to be. And then move in. The first turn went pretty well there, and now we just want to make sure we corner one of these ranged units so that we can pick up the Aether pots before we close things out.
Sure
That
thing.
shouldn't be too hard. Lysithea can just get one-shotted by Claude here.
Ha!
And
Good
then
morning.
Peony can jump past him and dance,
What's
which
this?
lets him move back over and one-shot Garen.
Huh.
On the right
Before
foot.
Peony jumps in, dances him one last time,
Sure thing.
and lets him nuke down Sigurd.
I won't back down.
Like this.
And then from there, it's pretty easy to just
Lord Asker, guide
relax
us.
a little while we move up to pick up the Aether pots.
I do
I'll
not
just let
object.
Ash move forward one more space
Place your
and let
bets.
Joshua jump all the way past her to pick the first one.
Let's go.
Claude can pick up the second.
Ready.
Then we'll dance him. And
Sure
let
thing.
him move down here for a full set of buffs and absolutely demolish Lilina.
Ha!
That was a neat one to plan out. It was another really fun week, actually. Got to use a variety of strategies this week, and it's really good to see that Gale Force team doing so well. It's probably going to become a staple team, a lot like Guinevere and Celcius are, for the weeks to come. The next couple of weeks should be interesting. I'm interested to see how well I can work Elamine into a team without using her as the bonus unit, and I'm also going to see if I can't figure out a good way to use Air's newly updated Refine and Remix. I do have a Discord server and a Patreon page. There are links in the description if you'd like to hang out and chat or help support the channel. And as always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.